we've reached the point where value delivery starts to intersect very strongly with creating and maintaining and improving systems, which we'll talk about in very great detail later. To introduce the topic, systemization is the process of making some process explicit and repeatable.
Okay.
So many times we have processes that we just kind of create ad hoc.
Right.
We haven't really thought about it. We kind of know in general what to do, but we kind of make it up every time we go along. And systemization...
It's like a recipe.
Yes, systemization is the creation of the recipe.
Okay.
You're saying, if you're used to cooking a specific dish,
Throw
and
it
you're
in,
like,
throw it in.
a little of this, a little of that.
Right.
Instead of doing that, you basically cook it, but while you're making the recipe, you measure and you write down, and you actually create a process from it.
Makes sense.
It's a wonderful analogy. Thank you. So systemization is really important because if you're going to diagram out, a value stream, or you're going to, figure out what this entire process looks like, you have to systematize.
Okay.
And the best way to systematize is to do what you do and pay very close attention to what it is you're actually doing.
Right. So someone else can do it.
Create the recipe. And, the more accurately you can create the recipe, the more you can then look at it and then improve it.
Right.
So, take, for example, a fantastic example of a system that has been created and optimized and automated. Okay. You can't automate something that's not systematized. Okay.
Right.
Factories and computers cannot think.
Right.
Okay. You have to define exactly what it is they're going to do.
Give them a process.
And if you haven't defined it for yourself via systematizing,
makes sense.
You just can't automate. But a good example of what the end result looks like is think of Google. Okay. Google is a system. It's a process. Okay. So if you pull up Google, there's a process that actually brings you to that page. You type in a term, and you hit the button to start searching, and hundreds of computers spring into action, and within milliseconds will do this very complicated process to figure out what you want and how to deliver it, and all these things. And then a couple of milliseconds later, it will start to deliver the final result.
Pretty cool.
That's automation.
Got it.
And if imagine if every time you searched for something, you transmitted it, and a bunch of really smart librarians got it.
Oh my gosh.
And would start to work on it.
It'd be so expensive.
It'd be so expensive, and it'd be so slow.
Yeah.
And so, by systematizing the process of doing a search,
they could automate it.
Google was able to automate it and serve probably, hundreds of millions of people at the very same time, which is really cool if you think about it. Okay, so explicitly defining your process, how you do what you do, what are the steps, what's the recipe, that's what allows you to make your process predictable and uniform and consistent and reliable. And it's also what allows you to automate and also accumulate Google's engineers are improving the algorithms that Google uses to do all the searches all the time, which has accumulation effects. It also, if it's to the primary algorithm, has amplification effects. One change will introduce
affect the whole system.
Millions of changes in the system.
Right.
So systemization of every business system, and you can apply systemization to each of the 5 core business processes.
Okay.
You can systematize value creation. You can systematize marketing. You can systematize sales. You can systematize delivery. You can also systematize finance, which we'll talk in a little bit.
Okay.
But systemization is a really big deal, and by making your processes explicit, you can start to improve them, and you can start to automate them.
Good.